So welcome to this PM620, PM622 walk around. I like to start the machine walk around with what I think is the core of the machine, the cut-in drum. So here there's a machine raised in service mode with the rear moldboard open, where you can see the new Caterpillar K generation system of Rotor. It has 170 bits on the 2 meters wide version. There's also the 2.2 and the 2.5 meters version for the 800 size class. And it can come with different spacing. The standard 15 millimeter spacing, the distance between two grooves of cut, but it can also be 6, 8, 18 or 25 millimeters. So from the micro milling to fine milling to standard and coarse milling. Whatever fits your application. So here we have some key elements of the rotor system. So the kicker pedals, the blocks welded on the drum, the tool holder, and the bits. So let's start with the block. It's all done with high strength alloys. And what is typical of this system is the dual retention system through taper and through a friction ring. So you just need to hammer it down into the block. You don't need retention pins, you don't need the set screws, bolts, caps. It's just hammered, and the more it faces impacts, the better it fits into its position and tightens up. It has also an anti-rotation system, and when it comes to replacing the bits, which is a very common and daily operation, so you can replace it from the washer, you can replace it from the groove of the bit, you can replace it through these chisel cutouts, or from this radial hole, very easy to access, or from the bottom of the block. And the tool holder has also a very long collar to have a very long duration. So everything is designed for ease of service and long durability. And the kicker pedals are symmetric and reversible, so you can literally double the duration. Another very important feature that a mill has to have is an optimized power to weight ratio. So when the bits engage the ground, you're going to have a reaction from the ground up. And if you don't have enough weight, the machine will literally jump. So weight is important to let the machine stay in the cut firmly and have a very good pattern of cutting. But you also need the power to move that weight forward. So this balance is achieved on this machine with a weight of 33 to 34 tons, depending on the configuration. And this powerful, reliable C18 Caterpillar engine, 18 liters, 630 HPs. So the third element in the equation is, okay, you have an optimized weight to power ratio, but you also have an excellent traction to move the machine forward and not slip on your tracks. So we achieved that by using this undercarriages system. It has commonality with D3 and D4 dozers. It leverages the long history and experience, almost 1 century of experience of Caterpillar in the building and designing undercarriages. So the traction is provided through 2 independent propel pumps with a cross flow between the front and rear tracks. So in any underfoot condition, even the most challenging, it ensures the best traction. And the tracks are grease lubricated, sealed, and automatically tensioned. The pads are very large, easy to replace. And there's also one other feature here. You will notice here you don't have a fixed rod to pass on the steering from one undercarriage to the other. You have a cylinder. So this cylinder, what is that for? It automatically aligns the tracks so that at any time, in any sitting condition, they have an optimal angle that minimizes the dragging of the outside track and minimize the wear of the pads. And this is what we call true track steering, unique to Caterpillar. So you have here a ground display where the ground operator can control the leveling through the side plate. The side plates have position sensing cylinders. Also, the grade and slope can be done through sonic sensors, through an optional inboard key in the front, or even through 3D. Then you have storage boxes. Here, storage is always very much needed in milling operation. Also, the battery compartment have further space for storage. And in the HRC machines, so high regulated countries machines, you have the depth tank here. In the low regulated country machine, you have another storage box here. Then here we have the depth tank port. Here we have the electronic panel with this board. This diagram here shows you what each fuse and relay is controlling, and you also have spare fuses here. You have a tester for fuses here. You can check whether they work or not. You have a LED. And you can see color-coded, labeled harnesses in a nylon braided wrap for optimal resistance to wear. The compartment is isolated against water ingression. Here we have storage for lights, and we have a hand pump there. So in case you have a mechanical failure, you're in the cut, how do you move the machine? You can still use that hand pump to release the brake and tow the machine away. If you have battery power, you can even put the machine through the controller in tow mode, so you can operate through the batteries. You can raise or lower the legs, release the brakes, operate the conveyor and the canopy. Behind these doors, we have the belts to drive the rotor from the dry clutch. And we have two high tensile rubber belts, 5 ribs each, automatically tensioned at any time. We move to the front of the machine with the conveyor. The conveyor can swing 60 degrees right or left to follow the discharge truck in the curves. Let's move beyond the secondary conveyor. Here, large doors to clean out the debris. And here we have vinyl cover magnetically mount that allow you to easily open, inspect the status of rollers, either rollers and of the belt. And moving here, you've seen at each corner of the machine there's a keypad. All the keys are, the buttons are tested for 1 million cycles, and you have a horn, an emergency stop. You really have a wide set of commands from these keypads. If you have a challenge in operation where the operator on top of the operator station needs to focus on the leveling or on the propel, the operator on the ground here can control the conveyor. And water is a very important element of milling. It has 3 purposes, main purposes. The first one is to abate the dust produced by the milling process so that it's more comfortable for the operator, but also for the residents, for the traffic. So it's very important to abate efficiently the dust. The second purpose of water is to cool down the drum. And the third purpose is to lubricate the bits so that they can rotate and wear evenly, not just on one side. So with these manifolds, we can control the spray systems in the back of the chamber. the one in the front of the chamber on the opening to the primary conveyor, in the transition area between primary and the secondary conveyor, and on top of the primary conveyor, and eventually the low pressure washdown system. So let's climb up the operator station. So the ladders and the handrails are very comfortable and ergonomic and safe. So one key feature of this machine is this canopy. It's a one single mount canopy, so it can be folded down on the water tank. Let's demonstrate it. So you might have obstacles, trees, low bridges, tunnels. The canopy is in the way. You can lower it without stopping the operations. It does not fold over the operator station. It folds over the front water tank. A few words about lighting for these machines. In addition to the canopy lighting, you can also have perimeter optional lighting and roading and working LED lights for optimal choice of lighting for nighttime operations. Now let's talk a little bit about the controls. So you have these two displays that can turn and you can also be adopted on the left side, and you have the controls, the diagnostics, the grade and slope on the displays, the cameras. You have the control panels that you can lower or raise. Vinyl suspension seats, very comfortable and ergonomic. Very good visibility on the right side, on the edge of the side plate, on the edge of the undercarriage. And the buttons are backlit for optimal visibility. You have the joystick that controls the propel and the steering, the joystick that controls the conveyor. It's important to have the best access to all the components to be serviced. So we have this large hood in the back here. That can be raised electrically. You also can raise manually this portion of the hood, and you can really see there's a very wide and unimpeded access to the engine compartment, to the hydraulic down here, and there's also a step. You can literally step into the compartment for maintenance and service. With that, thank you for attending this abbreviated walk around.